Good morning to my 1,667 YouTube channel subscribers. Hope you guys are having a nice weekend. It's Sunday morning. I'm walking home from church. And today I would like to share with you guys my experience with buying the Nintendo NES console. First off, that I'm very excited to announce that my girlfriend and we purchased a top loading NES console. We just ordered that last night, so it'll be here this week, and we'll do a live box opening of the new NES console, and we'll hook it up live and give the gameplay so you guys can see how the top loading system is. So, but I would just like to go back to my experience, my lifelong experience with NESs. The first Nintendo NES I got was, I would say, 1985 or 1986. I was around 19 years old, and I got a brand new one. I believe it was for Christmas one year. And, and so I have experience. I remember, and before that, my first gaming console ever was the Atari 2600. And I remember the Atari 2600 used to have to use the RF adapters and screw it into the back of the TV where the antenna goes. And I remember, as long as you got a good connection, the picture quality was pretty good. And then I remember when the NESs first came out, you had to use the same RF adapter. And then they went to the AV cords as well. And so I remember that, and so that's my first original NES. And when I first got the console, I remember putting the cartridges in, and they would play relatively. You put them right in, and you push power, and they would play. However, after owning the NES consoles for a year or two, then with the dust got into the consoles, you would have to blow in it, blow in the console, blow in the games, which now I hear people say that really doesn't help. However, from my experiences, you would have to blow in it. Maybe it was wiggling the games around. And so I remember having, some kind of issues with getting the games to work. But the majority of the times they would end up working. Okay, so that was from 1985, 1986 experience with the consoles. And then, so let's fast forward to about 2 months ago. I owned a PlayStation 5, and I owned the PlayStation for years. However, I only played one video game on the PS5, and that was MLB The Show. And so I got really burnt out from playing MLB The Show on the PlayStation 5. And so I ended up selling it to my girlfriend's brother. And I didn't even play it for a few months. Hi Darius, Lalo. Hope you're having a nice day. And so anyhow, and I apologize for the noise of the wind and the noise of the traffic. My wireless Bluetooth microphone, it broke, and I need to order a new one. And so hopefully next week I'll have improved audio quality. So back to my story about the NES. I sold my PlayStation 5 around 2 months ago. I never really used my PlayStation 5. I only had one game, MLB The Show. I didn't even buy the new game this year because it was like $70, $80. And I was like, I'm just tired of spending $80 a year just to play the same baseball game. And I was just burned out. And then plus the online gameplay, I would lose more times than I would win. And I just felt like, people was cheating on there with the online gameplays, and it just got kind of boring. And so, and my girlfriend wanted a Nintendo, and I was thinking like, that would be cool to get a Nintendo. And so we ordered, so first off, our first experience with the NES is we went into a pawn shop about a month and a half ago. A month ago or so, we tried to buy one for $70. And we went in there to try to play it, and it just the system crashed out, the console crashed out. We could only get Mario to play for about 2 minutes. Then we could never get it back on. And we was like, Then we learned, okay, we just want a reliable console that works. That's the main thing. We want a reliable console. And so that was $70. So we went online and we saw one for $245 that said guaranteed to work. But then we seen this other one we bought for like $150. And so we was gonna save $100 and we ordered a cheaper console. And so we ordered that from eBay. It got sent to us. And we did an unboxing live on the YouTube channel. We plugged it in and we could not get that console to work. We tried everything we could. And so we couldn't get it to work, so we had to mail it back. We got our refund. Then we ordered another console, NES, that we have currently. Now, it does work. However, sometimes it takes 5 minutes or more to get the games to play. And when you put the cartridges in, it's a real struggle to put the cartridges in, and sometimes to get them out, it's almost impossible to pull them out. And so that's just, it's not really. And then also then it takes 5-10 minutes for the games to play sometimes. And so we're looking for more of a reliable system where the cartridges easily could come in and out, and when you put them in, you push play. So we ordered another NES console last night, and we only paid $136 for it. It's a top loading console, and so from what I read on Google, the top loading NES consoles, they're way more reliable. And so we should get that this week, and then we'll do another live video of us unboxing the top loading system and then compare that to the other system. And so we're just really looking for a reliable gameplay. When we put Super Mario Brothers 3 in, we just want to hit the play button to play. And you know, I feel like if we're gonna pay top dollar for something, it should work how it's supposed to. And I understand that, you know, the game system is 40 years old and it's going to be some issues. And however, I feel like if you're going to pay top dollar, then you should be able to get a good, reliable system. So, so we paid, we got 20 games and we got the console. And so we paid close to $400 for all that. And with that $400, you know, I sold my PlayStation 5, the disc version, for $350. And so I don't think the Nintendo with 20 games is worth $400. However, if you could get a NES console that is reliable and the games played, I would say it would be worth $400. That had 20 games, that had the NES console. And I apologize for the traffic, guys, the noise on the traffic. I will be upgrading a new Bluetooth microphone this week. And I think it would, okay, I'll just put it like this. I enjoy playing the NES games more than I enjoy playing the PlayStation 5 games. What I like better about the NES games is the sound. I love the sound. I love the picture quality of compared from the NES compared to the PlayStation 5. Okay, and so now if you know anything about vintage movies and stuff, like movies from the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, the picture quality on the older movies compared to movies that come out in 2025, if you can watch a movie from 1955, the 1955 movies are actually going to be better quality than the 2025 movies. And the reason why is because in 1955 they had to put them on film and the reels, and they had better color texture, and they had better picture quality, opposed to where in 2025 they had to put it in a digital format, which compresses the files so it could be sent over the internet. So you're not going to get as good as picture quality in new movies as you would opposed to older movies. And I'm not sure, but this is kind of my own opinion. I feel like the older video game consoles have a better picture quality because the digital format, that whatever it might be, I'm not for sure exactly, but I think the original Mario 3 on the NES, just the colors are so nice. And thanks, Moto Man. I appreciate it that you think that's interesting. So do I. And so, and then so the image quality of the regular Mario 3 and the sounds of it are more richer and more enjoyable from the old consoles compared to the new consoles, in my humble opinion. Now, it's definitely going to be some improvements for the PS5 over the Nintendo, but also the original NES is going to be superior than the PS5 in many ways, just like movies, films made in 1955 will be superior and better than movies made in 2025, just because of how the media was recorded. Okay, so I would say, okay, so I had a PlayStation 5 I sold for $350. I had one game on it, and I think that you would be better off selling your PS5 and buying a Nintendo for $350 and having 20 games with it, long as your NES console is dependable. If you can find a dependable, reliable system that when you put the game in to push play, that it just plays for you, then I would think it would be better off having a original Nintendo NES more than a PlayStation 5. And so, especially if you have all the best games for the Nintendo. And so I believe the Nintendo has a better sound quality. I believe the Nintendo games have better image quality. And also, once you pay for the game, you own it forever. And most of the games you can buy for $5, $10, $20. The most expensive game on the Nintendo NES would be Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and you could get that for about $30. The cheapest new game for the PlayStation 5 is going to be about $70, $80 after tax. So the games are cheaper. And then another good thing about the NES is you don't have to have the internet. You don't need any internet connection, which is 20, 30, 40, 50 a month. And then you don't have to pay the PlayStation Game Pass, which is another $10 a month. And so it's just better overall to own an NES system. Walking home from church, beautiful view, guys. Hi, Joanna. Depends on what type of games you're trying to play. I totally agree with that, Moto Man. And so if you're trying to play offline games, like let's say Super Mario Brothers 3, Zelda, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Castlevania, if you're trying to play them games, then the Nintendo would be better. The NES would be better than the PlayStation 5. Now, if you was trying to play online games like Call of Duty and games like that, then the PlayStation 5 would be better. However, for me, somebody who's been playing MLB The Show online since 2005, I feel like it's really not that fun playing against other kids. And, it's just kind of it's gotten frustrating for me. And then plus, I don't like having to pay $70, $80 a year to keep playing the same game every year. And then I have to pay $20, $30, $40, $50 for internet. Then you have to pay another $10 a month for the PlayStation service. I think it's a ripoff. I don't think it's worth it. I think we should stop. I think we should just go back and play the older games. And I think that's just my opinion. And from a lifelong gamer who's been playing video games since 1980. Okay, so I have a lot of experience playing video games. I first started off with the Atari 7800 in like the late 70s. I had an Atari 7800. No, I'm sorry, Atari 2600. Then I got the original NES. Then I got the Super Nintendo. Then I got the Nintendo 64. And then I got the Sony PlayStation 1. So I have a lot of experience. And, I had the PlayStation 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I just really got burned out on the Sony PlayStation 5. And to be honest, I don't think there was hardly any improvements between the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. It was a total waste of money. I really felt like a dummy for buying the PlayStation 5 because there was absolutely really no benefits between the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4, in my humble opinion. And so that's just my opinion. That's how I feel. And I respect that somebody else feels differently, of course. As I cut through the woods, what a wonderful, wonderful morning to do that. And that's my opinion. It is a Nintendo NES, the original 1985 game system, with 20 games worth $400. Yes, it is, if you have a reliable console. If you put your video game in and you hit power and your game plays, it's worth it. It's worth the $350. And so basically, now I just paid for the top loading system. I paid $136 after tax. And then the 20 video games cost about, the 20 cartridges I got cost about $200. So if you add $200 plus $136, that'd be $336, which is less than $350. $350 is how much I sold the PlayStation 5 for. And so I'll be way more happier owning a Nintendo NES with 20 video games than I would be owning a PlayStation 5 with MLB The Show. Okay? And that's somebody who loves MLB The Show. I play MLB The Show online every single day for 20 something years. And I got burnt out on it and it just became not fun. I'd just much rather have the regular Nintendo and play the regular Nintendo. Long as it's a reliable system. And then, now once I get tired of the regular Nintendo, I could sell that. And then what we plan on doing is upgrade it to a Super Nintendo. And then after the Super Nintendo, possibly upgrade it to a Nintendo 64 and a Nintendo Wii U. And so I think all them experience would just be much more funner, in my humble opinion. So, but that's the end of this video, guys. Hope you guys have a nice day. Thanks for joining, and please be sure to subscribe, like, and share these videos. And I'll be having a new video coming soon of the top loaded console. When we get that, we'll go live and we'll do a box opening on live. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye.